All right. Good morning. We get you updated about the state of our program right now. Varsity's 1-1 after 2 games last week, one versus Rockhurst Friday night. A 51-44 win for us, first time in program history that we've been able to beat Rockhurst. 1-3 against them now in our 6 years. So beating a strong program like that is certainly something that our guys were excited about, as well they should be. And then Sunday we went to Norm Stewart Classic and played in the at Columbia College on ESPN3, which was a great opportunity for the guys. I know they're really excited about it. And played well in stretches, had opportunities late to close the game, down by a point with just about 2 minutes to go, and made a couple bad plays late and weren't able to close, but certainly had opportunities to beat what I think is going to be a really good Columbia Rockbridge team. I think they got a chance to be really good. I think we got a chance to be pretty good, so I think we should have won the game. Nonetheless, we weren't. So 1-1. Our tournament this week, St. Pius tonight, and then see kind of how things play out. But either St. Joe Central or Lincoln Prep on Thursday, and then who knows where Friday will look like. Program-wide, though, we're in a good spot. Our JV team has had a really strong start to the year, regardless of result. We got some really good players playing, and they've been playing well. They were able to put it together last night in the first round of the Kearney JV tournament. Got all over Pius. I think the final was 53-19, so they're pretty dominant, which was good to see. We got good players, so they should be able to play well and get on people, and it was good to see that for them. Sophomores have only played 1 game, so they've had a lot of practices with not a lot of games. That was Friday night versus Rockhurst, and our freshman program's as strong as it's ever been, with some good wins so far this year. A and B, the only loss that they have is to Rockhurst. So proud of what those guys are doing, proud of the development that's taking place in our program, and certainly excited about varsity this week and our tournament and all the things that come with it. And we're excited and hopeful for a good showing. So with that, open it up to you guys for questions.
After finally beating Rockhurst on Friday, was the team's confidence boosted?
It'd be a great question for those guys. I think it was. I think we gained some confidence from it. I think that more so than anything, though, I think that what that did was show the guys what a game speed looked like. We'd been practicing for so long, trying to get game plans and different things in, and so when we got the win, it was some in-game adjustments and some things that took place. So yeah, I think it was definitely a confidence booster anytime you win. But even that being said, I think after the game, the guys realized we probably could have even played better than we did.
Does a practice look any different after they've won a game versus after they've lost a game?
That's a really good question. Does practice look different? Yeah, sometimes not. Honestly, after we lose, we're probably a little easier on them after we lose, because that's when they're down a little bit. But we don't try to be too reactionary or too inconsistent with our approach, win or lose. There's a standard, there's a way we want to play. And sometimes in games, you could play really, really well and lose. Sometimes you could play really poorly and win. And finding that balance so then the guys have confidence with how they perform or how they practice is part of what goes into your season. So this group's different because they're experienced. So yesterday we were on the floor for about 25-30 minutes of shooting. And then we walked through some stuff. So it's different. With last year's team at this point, I had to have a little bit more of a practice. So sometimes it's different depending upon where you are in the season, more so than maybe after a result.
Do you think this season will have a different result than previous seasons?
In what way?
Maybe wins or losses, or maybe just the players in general?
Yeah. Oh, God. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know what I'm optimistic about. I know what I'm excited about going forward, but as far as predicting result, that's really hard. I think that they're a group that'll play through some adversity. They're a group that is more self-reflective because they've got more experience. How that translates, if it's result, if it's, we've, you ask for a different result. I mean, we've had some pretty good ones over the last 4 or 5 years. So different result, maybe depending upon how you frame the question, could be, a negative thing or a positive thing. So this doesn't help the question you're asking, but I'm just worried about tonight. I'm just worried about St. Pius and trying to figure out a way to make sure we play well and beat them. And hopefully those results could take care of itself.
How does the national exposure on ESPN3 help your program?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge. I mean, I don't know. I mean, how many teams, high school teams, have been on them, in that setting? So to have that opportunity and to do that is huge. Just very appreciative of the people who make that happen. Niles Media and John Sprugel and some guys do some phenomenal work with it. Our Basketball Coaches Association put a lot of time into trying to help organize and get that done. So there's a lot of people that make that happen, and then the guys are the ones that get the, experience or the enjoyment out of it. I think it helps our program because no matter what you say to your team, if you're in a setting like that, they're probably a little bit more focused. They might have a little bit more attention to them because of what's at stake. And then as you go along further into your year, you get opportunities to play in bigger games, and you hope that what you've previously had prepares you better for that. So the national exposure is great. It's good, neat for people, alumni especially, to be able to see when they're off at school, families, grandparents, all that. That's great. But hopefully, if anything, it prepares us for some stuff down the road.
I know recently you guys had a really big win against Rockhurst. What do you think the most important factor that helped them achieve that was?
I don't know. We just stayed with it, and we're pretty resilient for 32 minutes because they're straight. We were up 10 against them, 23-13 maybe, and had the opportunity to really get going, and then had some stuff not go our way. They made a couple good plays. They got back in it. But, we didn't shoot it great from 3 in that game. We turned it over a bunch, and yet we still won by 7. So one factor that plays into that game, and one factor that's consistent in the game Sunday against Rockbridge was just us sticking with it and just trying to be mentally and physically tough and play through it, because we're going to play better. We're not going to turn it over as much. We're going to shoot the ball better. So when we do that, then I think the margin could be different, but I don't want to get lost about what's really at play, which is, we got to play a certain way and play to a standard every night. We'll see how that goes. But it was good. It was a good confidence booster, if nothing else.
How do you think playing 3 games in 5 days is affecting your team?
Yeah, you need to ask me that next week because I don't know how it'll. Going in, I've got an idea about it, but the good thing is program-wide, and especially with the varsity guys, we got some depth this year. So get some guys playing, some opportunities for some guys to jump in there. But I'll know more. It depends on how the games go. It depends on who stays healthy. It depends on foul trouble. It depends on 8 million things. So next week I'll have a better idea about how 3 games in 5 days impacts you. But obviously substitution patterns and some things going in my mind I've got that might be a little bit different.
What's something that you want the players to keep in mind while playing this week? I just want them to stay focused. They just need to stay focused because regardless of who we play, Pius, Casey Central, Lincoln Prairie, whoever it is, if you stay focused, then you give yourself an opportunity. If you get too distracted and start thinking too far ahead of yourself, or if you start thinking about fatigue, or if you start thinking about different things, then I think it kind of gets in the way of what you can perform. So as long as we can maintain a pretty strong and singular focus on whatever's in front of us, and tonight it's Pius, Thursday it'll be whoever, Friday will be whoever, then I think that could propel us to maybe have some success. So if we're able to do that, then we'll let kind of the game play out and the results fall where they do.
What is the main focus or strategy going into the game tonight against Pius?
Well, we as far as Pius, you know, we've got some tape on them. We've got our report. We've prepared it for our guys, so they're ready for them as far as their actions, their personnel, their type things, and we'll take care of that. But the biggest thing is we got to shoot the ball better. We got to take care of the ball better. We do those two things against Rockhurst on Friday. I think the margin's a little different. We do those two things on Sunday against Columbia Rockbridge. I think the result's different. I think we win. So, you know, how do you shoot the ball better? Well, I don't know. I'm not that smart. It's just got to go in the goal more. So I'm trying to give the guys confidence. I'm trying to, you know, show them that we're taking good shots. It's just not going in. And then our turnovers, you know, there are good turnovers. You know, you're making aggressive plays and the ball bounces the wrong way, or you get a charge call. Those are good turnovers. But then what we do sometimes is we just make bad turnovers. And so we've got to eliminate the bad turnovers. You eliminate bad turnovers, you hit a couple threes, you make your free throws, and then we'll just kind of see where we're at.
What are some of your top personal goals for the team this year?
We want to be the best we can. What's in front of us? You know, I think it's a little limiting sometimes when you set goals. If I set a goal to be a district champion and we achieved it, does that mean that that's all we wanted to do? If I set a goal to be a state champion and we catch a bad break and something happens and we don't, does that mean that we didn't reach it? So, you know, we want to focus on reaching our potential. We want to focus on our cohesion, on our chemistry, on our teamwork, on our toughness, on all those things every single day that take place that form a team and make a team grow. And then the on-court stuff, you know, we just want to be an unselfish team. We want to share. We want to make sure that the guy that's the go-to guy is the guy that's open. And then we'll defend like crazy and give ourselves a chance every night. So, you know, as far as goals go, I just want these guys to, you know, be the best they can at what's in front of them.
How does the team this year, as far as potential goes, have in comparison to some of the great Liberty North teams that we've seen in the past?
Yeah, good question. I've got an idea, and I like them, and I think they're good. Time will tell. You know, it gets written after the season, not necessarily during, but there is potential. How that gels, how that comes together, you'll see. But ask that in March. But I've got an idea up here about what I think about it, and I hope it's the same answer I give you in March.
How do you encourage your players when they aren't playing well in a practice or a game?
I just ask them to play a little better. Sometimes maybe it's a little bit more authoritative than others. But they got to reflect on it themselves. They got to see kind of the mistakes they're making. They've got to know why those mistakes take place within the framework of our offense or our defense or whatever the situation is. But, you know, the mistakes that really set me off are the ones off effort or attention. And usually we don't have many of those. We've had a couple so far. But, you know, as far as encouraging them, you know, nobody wants to play better or do better than the guys. So just making sure that, you know, we're supporting them maybe when they're playing well, maybe when they're struggling, you know, you just make sure they know that you're there to support them. Sometimes they need, you know, your arm around them, and sometimes they need a little kick in the butt. So it just depends on the day and the person and which one I'm willing to give.
Personally, what skills do you think you have acquired from being a basketball coach?
I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit more patient. Maybe. There's a lot of different things that you get when a season or when you coach, and you know, your planning and your preparation and your organization, your system thinking about how things fit, your long-term planning about how teams are going to play. Your communication skills with players, with parents, with media,
I mean, we could spend the entire press conference talking about it because there's so many different things that go into coaching a team, building a program, and those things, and by no means are we perfect at it. You know, we work at it every day. Most important of our part of our program, most important skill I'll ever get is making sure I get good players, I develop good players, and develop good relationships with them. That's the most important thing. And then our assistant coaches, you know, I mean, those guys are phenomenal. They work so hard. They spend so much time with the guys developing them that, you know, as long as your players and your assistants are pulling the same way, then the other stuff kind of falls into place. I'm just lucky to have the opportunity I do, and you know, try to steer it the right way, and you know, try not to screw it up too bad sometimes. And, you know, but the most important thing that you're ever going to do is your players, and we spend a ton of time making sure that they understand how important they are to us. And, you know, those go for past guys, it goes for the guys we currently got, and it goes for the guys that we've got coming. So wrap it up with that. Appreciate everyone being here. Great turnout, great questions today as far as where we're at and where we're wanting to go. So, you know, a week from now, I think you're going to have maybe some more specific questions after you watch us play 3 times this week at home. You guys are doing just a phenomenal job of coverage this week. I know it's a crazy busy week for you all, but the coverage that you give our players and the opportunities that you give them for exposure is something that helps our program undoubtedly. So know that we appreciate it. The work that you're doing, all the extra hours that you're putting in, and then we'll do our best tonight and the rest of this week to put a good product out there so you got something fun to put on TV and fun to talk about. So appreciate you being here. We'll talk to you guys next week.